what happened there. Let's see. We've had some problems. No, we're on. We're actually on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're good. All right. We got 5 people in the Zoom room: Connie Ma, Gail Kenyon, Leah Gore, who's L. Gore, Maria Iverson, and Michael Van Patten, the MVP of Soulogy.
Oh, bless.
Yes. Have you met Michael?
I don't think so. No.
No, you guys would get along great. So we are live on Facebook. Let me just check on my phone so I can pull up the comments, so I don't have to go back and forth. And make sure that everything's cool. It's good to see you. Really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you seen Shakina lately?
Yes. Yeah? It's so much fun. We will do some, fun events, and then we'll be out on the land, and we actually are, we're gym buddies.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, we encourage each other to get out to the gym.
My question is, when do you sleep? Because I know your schedule.
The last couple of months, I was wondering the same thing, because I was doing a lot of work at nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know when you're not working. To be honest with you.
It isn't really work. It's more play. It's I don't feel like any of this is work, so that's why it's easy. Every day I give thanks for what I am asked to do. Being live in front of people, that is challenging, but that's what the universe, God, has asked me to do. So here I am.
Well, I'm very pleased. Let me roll the show out. I want to give a proper introduction.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me say hello to everybody. If these shows resonate with you, please share. We do appreciate it. That way we can stay above the algorithms at Facebook. Big shout out to Michael Van Patten for putting these shows onto YouTube. We're developing an audience there after neglecting YouTube for many years. And he's been a big plus there. We've gained about 2,000 subscribers in about 4 months that he's been doing that. And he's doing a lot of other work for us too. Okay, so 33 people in the house. That's a good sign. Hello, Shanine Van Rion. If y'all haven't checked out the Freedom Network, please do. They have some great shows on there. I think she has a YouTube as well. Cricket Holden, Ella Gore, Mary Cooper. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. You hitting out? Okay. Who else we got? Chris Hall. You're going to be seeing him soon. He's got a show too. I don't know the name of it. Norma Costello, Heather Houston, Denise Tropia Kelly. Look forward to, and thank you, Denise. Jania Gazda, Nora Bouvier. She was on, old friend of mine. Uh-oh, got somebody calling me. Let's see. Are you calling me? It's Morgan. She butt dialed me. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got. Hang on now. Just want to make sure. Okay, Tom Bear's here.
Hello.
Tom Bear's been really supporting us a lot. Privately behind the scenes.
Yes.
Gaia Man's here. Rita Gullivson from Norway. Nora Bouvier, my old friend. Terry DeRoe, old friends. Okay, so what do we got? Let's see here. Okay, so we're good to go. As soon as I can get the technology to work properly. Okay. 47 people and counting. Susan Curtis, hello. So this is a really special Soul Speaks 5D. This is the only one we're going to do today. We got to go out. We're going to take a little break, and got some stuff that we got to take care of in the matrix. You know, driver's license, those things that make you conform. But it's a real special Soul Speaks today for me because Kymberley Griffin is a very dear friend of mine. I went to Sedona. I went to Sedona with not even a pot to piss in, excuse my French. And I was blessed to hook up with my sister Shakina Rose, and then I found other sisters there, including Kimberly, TL Guadalupe, Elena Starbuck, a few other people. But Kimberly really resonates with me. We've got a very strong connection. She's a beautiful lady. There's a very nice bio that explains a lot about her. I don't think it explains everything, to be honest.
No, probably not.
But you guys can take a look at that, take a glance at that. She does a lot of things, but one of the things really does it's quite moving is these crystal bowls, healing bowls. And I was blessed enough to do a couple of events and cover a couple of events where her and Shakina were performing or expressing, creatively channeling, I think. And you know what they say,
transmitting,
yeah. And it really, I really hope that Morgan and I can get over to Sedona and hook up with you guys, because I think it would be dynamic. One of the things Sedona taught me really was, more than anything, was what happens when two or more gather in a creative force, and not just in being in each other's space, but actually combining things spontaneously, intuitively, creatively, and imaginatively. I know it drove Shakina crazy. she likes to do everything in perfect order, but that's fine. But anyway, yeah, that's just my way of saying, everybody, Kymberley's a dear sister of mine, special place in my heart, and I'm really happy that she is coming out. She's a lot like most of the 1,000+ episodes. Many women have stepped up here for the first time. We know that there's been a patriarchal system, and we need that Magdalene energy, that Mother Goddess energy, that divine feminine energy that's nurtured us and held space for all these thousands of years to step forward. So we're here as a platform for the voices of that suppressed feminine, be it in a man or a woman. We're here to support that. So it's really a great pleasure. Sorry for the extended introduction.
It's okay.
But you have a warm place in my heart. And thank you for sharing space with us and honor us with your presence.
Thank you.
Really good to see you.
Same.
And I don't know where to start with you. And I kind of have an advantage. People used to hit me up and say, "Hey, we need to talk before we go on." I'm like, no. It's got to be spontaneous. And I guess the energy speaks for itself, because people don't really do that anymore. But I know some stuff about you, and
in a little bit.
a phenomenal story. I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I absolutely found fascinating the story of your wake up. You were living in the Northeast, and you were called to go to Sedona, and you had an encounter with some golden beings, which Morgan and I have encountered them as well here in Kauai.
Okay.
And then you had some crazy stuff happen after that. I don't know if you want to talk about that or whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I'll begin when you were saying awakening. That probably happened when I was 9. So it came a long time ago. Yeah. I just started to have visions of humanity in peril. And so I'm 9 years old, and it's pretty shocking. So that was really my first wake up, where I began dedication to Mother Earth, which included shutting off lights. I became a vegetarian. I mean, all these really, I guess, things that weren't really common, I just started to spontaneously connect into. So that's really when I remember having consciousness at that age. I became an advocate, a speaker for, Mother Earth, the trees, the land, the water, went into service at that age. So it kind of started a long time ago.
Wow.
For me.
How were you received by your
my parents?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my parents are wonderful people. They adopted 4 kids. I'm the oldest, 4 under the age of 5 years of age. So that was pretty chaotic, which allowed me to kind of wander and explore, and not really, my mother was really busy with my little brothers. So I was out in the woods or wherever. I was kind of left, to just go on my own. And I remember riding my bicycle through streets and watching the apple orchards be cut down and the horse farms being bulldozed. And it was very painful for me to see that happen, So when I was about 10 years of age, I had asked my father if he could help me cast a chart in astrology. And he, when...
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. So when I had asked my parents if they could, my father specifically, I felt like he could help me figure this out, how to do astrology. They thought, oh my God, we have adopted a witch. They
Well, that's not too far from the truth.
Well, and no, I'm not a witch, but I'm very connected to the earth. And so they, he still remembers that and he laughs about it. But now that's what I, do. I work doing astrology every day, So it led me to explore the churches, the synagogues. I was kind of, searching for meaning. I was also kind of searching for information about being adopted. So there was this search that I was on. And it started to, let's see what happened. I started to meditate at about 12. And I remember going into deep meditation and following a butterfly, just following this butterfly up. And it was this beautiful butterfly. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting in the presence of this giant golden man. And he said his name, and he said, I am Buddha. And I said, I didn't mean anything to me because I had not, I didn't have contact with that. We went to a Christian church. So, I kind of just left that scene and kept floating around the universe. And it just kind of continued to unfold like that. I was about 14 when I started to connect into yoga. I say yoga found me. And then when I was 16, I was hiking the Long Trail. And this is, it's like a 275-mile trail. It's the entire state of Vermont from Massachusetts to Canada. And so that's back in the time when we didn't have cell phones or anything. And I was out for 45 days in the wilderness. And
Are
it was
you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Were you by yourself?
No, I had a friend that I went with, but it was just two of us. And it was the most spectacular experience, to have that.
At 16 years old.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Good gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You lived more between 12 and 16 than everybody here put together.
It was so beautiful.
At 12.
It was I grew up in an area that materialism was big and I didn't resonate with it. And so I had really kind of sworn off money and sworn off things and, materials. And the following year, when I was 17, I lived up in on the Long Trail as a caretaker. So I lived out in the woods in these little tiny cabins, taking care of the land and the people who were coming to Vermont to escape the cities, escape their lives, and then I moved there.
So this would have been what, like 10 years ago? You're like 27.
Yeah,
now, right?
no, that was the 80s.
So, I mean, okay, so you came across Buddha meditation at 12?
Yes.
Were you receiving direction to do these things at 12 and yoga 14 and going out on the land at 16? I mean,
I don't.
Was it just innate?
I remember at one point when I was meditating, I decided to travel inward into my body and go down into my body through my throat and explore. I can't say that there was anything that told me to do that. It was just thoughts that were coming in. I think that, we didn't have Wi-Fi everywhere. We didn't have it where it's all over us. We were just receiving these energies. Yeah. And I was, again, kind of, because my parents were so busy with the other kids, I got to explore myself, and they didn't really say to me, you need to do this, you need to play piano, you should be studying. So I was out in the woods playing, and I just had these really fun experiences like that, where I would just travel inward, travel outward, and have these really beautiful experiences.
And so, and you have, you're a divine mother of, I think, 5 children? Is that
I
it?
am.
5? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never lost contact. A lot of people who come on the show say, I had it at an early age or whatever.
Oh.
Then I got married and I went into the matrix and I went to sleep and then something woke me up. But you didn't have that.
No, I stayed conscious, I guess. I continued on the path, even with my children. I I had 2 kids at one point, and I was a single mother. And my second son, he was about 11 months old, and so I decided to go to college, to become a biologist. So I started, and that's about the time I think that I felt that I had a Kundalini awakening. So I was about 23. And so this energy gave me, this energy that was coming through me gave me this energy to get a degree in biology, to become a biologist. So as a single mother.
Good
Yeah.
gosh.
Well, I didn't, people, what was I going to do? Watch television,
Yeah, no, not you.
No.
Not you.
So yeah, that was one thing though. I remember maybe it was like junior high school, but school was awful for me. I couldn't understand the clock. I couldn't understand how to tie a shoe. I had to make up a new way to tie my shoe. I still
You know what? You're not the only one. I've
I know.
never heard anyone say that. No. I've never heard anyone say that. I've tied my shoe funny my whole life,
Yeah.
I can't tie like everybody else.
No, I had to make up a different way to tie my shoe. We should compare notes. But the microscope in about 7th or 8th grade came into my life.
Yeah.
And that was mind blowing to be able to look through a microscope into that world. Really just at that point, science never left. It was just something that I couldn't, although Latin made sense, the clock did not make sense. So I don't.
Spoken like a true galactic. So you lived in Vermont with to raise your children, well,
Yes.
for a period, I guess.
Yes.
And then you have this calling. You lived in Sedona how long? How long have you been there?
Well, what happened was one of my girlfriends, Kayo Malik, she's a spectacular acupuncturist, and she is now permanently out in Maui. But she was one of my early clients. So as I finished up my biology degree, I then felt, I think I was pregnant with my 3rd son, and I was I started teaching biology. But what I realized were that the kids were really suffering because they really needed to be more connected with their families. So I changed directions, took my biology degree, took the kids, and I started working in the healing world. Acupressure massage, Cranio Sacral therapy, all of that started to come in for me. And so I began to practice, and Kayo was a friend of mine in Vermont. Our kids went to 4-H together. We were raising goats and sheep and chickens and turkeys and everything, and medicine on the lands. Yeah, we did. I was doing creating herbal concoctions, selling them at the farmers markets. People would come to my house getting miracle cures. That's so much fun. I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a beautiful piece of land in Vermont. So she left, she went to Sedona, and she opened up her acupuncture clinic and started to say to me, come to Sedona. And I'd never heard of Sedona. I was like, oh, sure, whatever, I'll come to Sedona. And finally, when I was finished nursing my 5th child, I was able to do so. I was kind of free. So I made plans to come out here. But at the time, the marriage that I was in, it was struggling big time. It was an 18-year marriage, and you and I have kind of talked a little bit about that. And I at one point when I was in yoga, and this was just so profound for me, I couldn't get the relationship to get any better. I couldn't change it. I couldn't end it. It didn't end. It kept going. And I was in yoga, and I was in tree pose, left side female. I could stand there all day. Right side male, flop, boom, right over, boom, 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 kept falling over. And I started to have this conversation with myself. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? My right side, my male side, he's out of balance. Whoa, why are all the men in my life out of balance? I started to go through this process in my mind. And then I went, oh, I need to have a conversation with my inner male. Yeah. So I started to have conversation and, raise him up into his highest. And within 1 week, the marriage was over. 1 week. Vibrational alignment, vibrational misalignment. Done. So that was at that point, 2012. And I was scheduled to come here. And I came to Sedona anyway. And that's kind of the theme of my life. And I continued to do this anyway. And I remember walking around with Kaio at the stupa, and she was explaining the vortices. And I thought, that's just so weird. I had that experience. I came into Sedona. I wept. It was incredible. It blew me open for sure. But I just, and here I am, somebody who can see energy on people, but for some reason when she was explaining to it, I thought it was kind of funny. So she took me to the stupa under Thunder, which I'm looking at right there. I get to sit next to Thunder Mountain and have conversations with that incredible God over there. She took me over to Bell Rock, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm looking over to Thunder, and I see this kind of like thing doing this, and I'm like, what am I seeing? And then I go, oh my gosh, it's a vortex. And then I realized there was this kind of streaming crystal energy around me. And then I realized I was sitting in this energy center as well. So I got here in 2012 through the difficult marriage ending, and but I continued to come back. I was so well received here. Thank you for all the beautiful people, that I continued to come here. And then I started to travel to Maui to work, and I worked in Nantucket. So I would do this circuit all around. And then when I would get my children again, I would be home and I would homeschool them. And then I didn't have them, and I would travel around and do that again. And through the time between 2012 and 2014, I've been here quite a few times, and I would work 10-hour days, 10 days in a row. The same with Nantucket. I just would work. And
same as you do now.
It is the same a little, but now I work even more than I worked then. So I lost my mother during that time, but it was literally 2 years later that I packed up to come to Sedona again. I was bringing my children down to Philly, where my father was. My mom's gone. And there was a huge snowstorm coming up the East Coast. And everybody said, don't do it, don't do it. And I thought, right. I got studded snow tires. I could drive I had no fear of this snowstorm. Well, it took me quite a long, instead of an 8-hour trip, it was about 11 hours, and it was pretty bad. But when I got there, I sat with my dad for a little bit, and then I went to bed. And in the morning, I woke up to a call early in the morning, and it said fire department on it. And I was like, oh, this cannot be a good call. And so I answered it, and it was, my house burned down behind me. Yeah, everything was gone. And I just remember, kind of going inward and thinking, all right, I have my hands. And everything that I can do and have always done is in these hands. And then I was like, oh, I have my face. Oh, that's good. Hair, check. And then I kind of came out of my core and out to my children. I went, I have all my children, not one. It would have been me and 3 of the kids that I would have lost at that point. And we survived. I counted blessings. I actually still continued to come to Sedona 3 days after the house burned down, worked. People couldn't believe that I was doing it. And I thought, what else am I going to do? You know, the universe, God, the universe said to me, continue to do the work and everything you've lost will be returned and more. And so I listened to God speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I got here full-time a year later, or not even, you know, we were homeless. And I, you know, just kind of counted blessings, knitted blessings into a little life preserver, took the life preserver, knitted some more blessings, made a lifeboat, and then I paddled out of hell, you know. And I got here and I have worked hard and I work every day. Anytime somebody pretty much says help, I say, yep, and I do.
You do so many things too. I mean, you play these magnificent singing bowls. You do the massage.
I do.
Acupressure. Well, tell me, because I don't even remember everything you do. I mean, it's like a smorgasbord.
It's whatever I can do to figure out how to get somebody up and running again. Sometimes it's physical work. Sometimes it's working with the body. Often it is working with the organs. So I'm, you know, working with the chi, the energy, the lymphatic system. I work with meridians. So I'm opening up, to me, the meridians are like energetic root systems for the organ. And so when we, each organ holds an emotion within it. So say it's the liver, anger is held there, or the lungs, grief is held there. And we have these lines through our body, and they when they get tight or constricted or, you know, disconnected, the organ is suffering. We're probably holding emotions in that area. But so I'll go through, at this point I use my tuning forks that are set to the meridians, and I'll work with that organ, and then I'll scan through the meridian and open up the different points. So I'm tuning up the body. That's one of the things, you know, that I'll do. Cranio Sacral work, working with the brain itself, the nuclei within the brain. So shutting off the alarm systems, or working with the memory banks, you know, clearing out traumas, PTSD. I actually had a really cool experience happen when I was on Nantucket, and you'd see a lot of Lyme disease. And I would see a signature within the brain that was the same thing every time, like a twist, like the spirochete in the body. So I was asking the universe, what do I do to help somebody with this, you know, with the Lyme disease? And I heard vibration. And I thought, what am I going to do? And then like this whole thing came in for me. Vibration, it would uncouple the spirochete from the human. And so I searched, and right in the town next to me, there was a lady who was offering tuning forks. So it was just like, you know, boop, boop, boop. And so I learned about using tuning forks, and I have probably 70 of them over there next to me. Yeah.
No, are you in your office right now? Is that your office? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got you use tuning forks. You use the crystal bowls, the harmonic bowls, or
yeah. So I have the crystal ones and I have the metal ones. These are Himalayan bowls. I have the tuning forks. I use lights, a lot of LED lights. Ben Lone Tree, he's my friend who makes me, he's my mad scientist friend, and he'll make me little gizmos and gadgets. So he created a frequency blanket for me. So the table itself, you just get on the table and you're feeling the energy. So there's all these crystals under it being activated, and then there's a frequency blanket, and then there's magnets on top of it. I have essential oils. You know, it's really kind of, again, whatever it takes to, you know, that I'll scan. I don't think about anything. I scan. I'm a dowser, so I scan. I ask, what does this person need? And I go through, boop, 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 pull it out, find the area, you know, and tune them up.
Wow, it's like a one-stop shop.
It's fun.
And of course you well, I don't know if it's the right word, but you present or perform with Shekinah, probably on your own, I'm sure. And then you also you do some art too, don't you?
I do. That was a pretty fun story. Never ask for something that you really don't. Well, I mean, in a roundabout way, I was kind of. Yeah. What I did was, because I see, I'm a seer. I thought in my mind, I just wish I could share with people the visions that I'm seeing. So at one of the drum circles, my friend accidentally dropped a djembe on my head, and it was a complete accident, but it was very bad. I ended up with a bad concussion. I ended up meeting incredible people, Dr. Michael McBride, who helped me, pretty much saved my life. But right about after that, after I survived and figured out that kind of was how it went. The house burned down. I got Lyme disease, and then I got this concussion. But I survived all of those things and learned how to deal with stuff. I started to paint, and I started to paint the visions that I had been seeing all along. So I just finished the 45 paintings.
45.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So they, when I started to hear the universe say to me, it's time to paint. And I thought, I don't know how to paint. They're like, well, go buy paint. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what kind of paint. I just knew I didn't, I just knew I didn't want, toxic oil paint, so I went with acrylics, and then I knew that I'd be moving around a lot. So I went with the thinner kind of flat boards. For some crazy reason, I went with a quadruple zero paintbrush, which is about the size of the eyelash of a butterfly, tiny. Wow. Ridiculous. And the detail on them, it's incredible, but it took a long time to do these. And I sat there looking at the blanks board, and the universe said, I was like, I don't know how to do this. They're like, pick up the paintbrush. You have to start somewhere. So I picked it up, and I watched my hand just start to do all this stuff. And 4.5 years later, 45 paintings are finished, and it's a deck, an oracle deck that I've created, or that the universe created.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to get all this information.
Yeah.
We can do it in the last 5 minutes of the show. We're going to spend about 10. Tom Whitebear is putting up all the links. There's a lot
he's so good.
Yeah, he is. Tom is a wonderful, wonderful brother.
He will send me. I just want to say, I'll have a kind of a tough day with my kids, and I come home and there's a card that says something like, "You're spectacular," and I'm like, "How did you know I needed that?" I just want to say how sweet he is. Where he just is so kind and so sweet, and get all weepy again.
He's been doing the same for me and for both of us. When I was by myself here, and then since Morgan's been here, we get something from him probably once a week.
Yeah, he's so kind. It's so much fun.
Yeah, he sent us a card a couple of days ago, and it said, "You're killing it."
I love that. Yeah, he has all these funny ones, but it's just like the timing is incredible. So he's so kind, because I can't remember all the things to do. Like, if you ask me what my YouTube channel is, I'm like, I don't remember. I'm working on that one, but that one has been, I can't figure out YouTube at the moment. So
now I'm just curious. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but do you work with anyone online, or is everything you do in person?
No. Well, all my astrology and my tarot readings. So I do a 12-deck tarot reading. I have 12 decks that I scan through and do journeys with people. My astrology's over the phone as well. I email them a report. The astrology for me has kind of changed a lot, where when I first started to do astrology, I was reading the masters, but it was a lot of doom and gloom for me. And when I had my first son, I looked at his chart and I went with what they were talking about, and I thought, oh no, this isn't good, So I kind of got really upset about astrology for a little while. And like I was saying, when vibration came into my life through the tuning forks, it changed everything for me. And so that's kind of when the sounds started to come in for me. it changed my astrology as well. So now I do astrology, vibrational activational astrology. So it's an activation because it's we're you know, we talk about this and we bring somebody up into consciousness, into their awareness, like turn them back on and bring them into their highest vibrational state. So those are done on the phone. The tarots are done on the phone. But what also happened, I started playing these crystal bowls accidentally, if you call it that. I was in Sweat Lodge. The man who pours the water, he said, "Can you play a crystal bowl?" And I went, "Yeah, I can do that," you know. So I started playing one. One turned into five, and I would play 5 crystal bowls in a Sweat Lodge in the dark, and it was incredible. And then the next thing I know, I'm being asked to do it at different resorts. And then Shakina, she is a client of mine, actually. But we just like, we're like this with each other. Yeah. And we ended up, I don't know how we ended up going and doing this out on the land, but we would I'd carry the bowls out there. We'd set up the video recorder, sweating, mop off our face, fix our hair, you know, make sure we were looking good, and then do these things, and then take it all down and move to the next spot.
If you haven't seen the videos, and I know you can find them. Kymberley doesn't know her YouTube channel, but I know you can find them on Shakina's. I played some on the radio show, a couple of them. But just to give you an idea, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the terrain in and around Sedona, and so you have these 2 diminutive 5'2"-ish, beautiful divine goddesses in beautiful dresses,
climbing mountains.
You can see the crystal bowls behind her over her shoulder, those big white ones. And she has these I guess they're like carry-on bags that hold them, because I've helped her with them, and they carry them onto the land. And I'm not talking about like you park your car here and walk across the street. We're talking about through the land, up the mountain, set everything up in the heat, and then do these incredible expressions, these dual expressions, and yeah, they're quite fascinating. I'm sure Tom will put some of those up. And
the one that is really mind-blowing is the one where Keith Allen Kay had his drone out, and we climbed up. I dragged the bowls up. Like, it wasn't terribly hard, but we hiked up there, and then we put on our pretty white dresses, and we are up there. And he's got the drone circling, and that footage is mind-blowing. It is crazy. It's awesome.
That's the one. That's the one I put out on the radio show.
I think that one was for when you were coming for that transmission. You came to that transmission. That's the one where I first met you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yeah.
We had some. You guys really even like the last one y'all did. I was talking to Shakina, and y'all did what was it? The the
Great Cosmic Awakening. Holy cow, Todd! That story I have to tell you at anher time, because
she told me.
Well, no, there's a whole background story behind that.
Is.
Oh
okay.
my God. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Her part, when, we got up, it was probably the most packed I've ever been in. And again, if you don't know, that's getting up on stage is not something I ever thought I would do, or sing, or any of that, or speak, or all of it. But again, here I am doing this. And so that was it was standing room, it was packed, and you could barely get through the crowd to get your, up to the stage, etc. And people were really excited about the Wilcoxes and stuff, and we were on before them. So I do want to tell you this story, but I'll because it started back in January, and actually the last time Shakina was on, I saw that she was kind of talking about how back in January we had 5 planets in Capricorn, and it was just kicking everybody hard. And we kind of would get together. Well, the experiences that I was having, I felt like my body was in the worst shape it's ever been in, like pain, my bones hurt. I would just try to walk around like, what is happening to me? And around me, people were, clients were saying they were dying, feeling like they were dying. And then one time Shakina and I got together and we both kind of were like, I think I'm dying. And we both were like whispering it like, oh my God, I think. And so we were having the same experience. And then she would tell me other people were feeling that way. And I was, hearing the same. But what I realized was that as our energies are shifting, the most dense tissue, it's our bones.
Yeah.
And so the bones are having a hard time, teeth and bones are having a hard time with the shifting of this energy. The skin, the energy around us, that's much easier to, take on new shapes. But the bones are like, but wait, I'm a really rock solid thing. So we were all experiencing this back in January. It's gotten a little better, which is a good thing. We only have a couple planets in Capricorn at this point. Again, there's this incredible story about ancient lineage healing that I cannot wait to tell you about, because it kind of came around back in January, culminating at the great cosmic event, all centered around, we had the equinox, we had a full moon, we had the Easter, all of those. So the energies were extremely intense. And what I was personally experiencing, all of a sudden, I'm able to like make sense of it and string it together to be able to go, holy cow, this was an amazing thing. But when I went to the cosmic event that Deborah Thunderbeat was having, I get to see Shakina, and I've been having these incredible experiences. And I see her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm having all of this," and I was like, "Wow." I mean, what was going? She's really never like that,
Yeah.
But we had to go on. So we had practiced ahead of time. I had been doing the Sedona Yoga Festival and had this experience of these air elementals, which I had no idea what it was, but Shakina, the sills, yeah. And Shakina knew what they were. So I was really grateful for her to be able to tell me what was happening. And it was, I was out on the land, carried these bowls all the way up the mountainside, laid people down, blew their minds and hearts open, which is, fun to do. So
I think you're one of those.
I am an air sign. So she and I, we focused on something different. We wanted to do something different than what we had done at the Matrix event at Beyond the Matrix. And that was incredible as well. But we had more time to play. This time we had about 10 minutes. Yeah. So I had it all I had my phone. I could see the time. I knew exactly when I was going to do what. I look over. I start to activate Shakina. She loves the little pan drum that I have because it just goes with her voice so beautifully. So, and this is beautiful too because she invited me to sing with her. So we're singing together now. And all of a sudden, I hear something and I'm like, what in the world? It is nothing like I've ever heard come from her, ever. And all of a sudden I look down and they're holding up the sign, time's up. And I look at her, I look at the sign and I'm like, yeah, no, that's sorry, not going to happen. There is something happening here that I am not going to stop. There was no way I could stop it. And I keep looking at the poor lady holding the sign and I'm like, yeah, I'm just playing. I'm still playing. I was like, nope, I can't stop this. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So finally I see Shakina's eyes open and I knew I could communicate to her, look at the sign. So I was able to communicate to her. She looked at the sign. We knew we couldn't even finish what we were doing. We were cut short. Yeah. And it was 7 minutes. So we're scooping everything up, getting out of there. It was so incredible that people could not stop there. I mean, everywhere we went, people were greeting us and giving thanks to us and saying, why couldn't it have been longer? And it would have been awesome.
Because the people were stuck in the matrix that were trying to, I'm kidding. No.
They were in a time thing that they wanted to, and that's the way those kind of, it was packed. It was incredible. And the most bizarre piece of it is 3 days of taping. That is the only 7 minutes that doesn't exist.
I know.
It was so high vibe that it could not be caught on tape.
Yeah, she told me about that. She said that the person came and said, I don't know what happened. Yeah. But we got everything. But so that speaks a lot,
Yes. Yeah.
That speaks a lot. And that's something I think too, that I had experienced stuff like that on my own, like in the studio when I was making music and different things. But whenever I first got to Sedona and I met Shakina over at this Airbnb, I was there like 2 days and we did this impromptu, spontaneous thing. And she called.
I remember.
You remember she called in the Red Rose halfway through this this live. It was a live. And I remember watching this red rose ray come through, and it's still there. I mean, it's on camera. You can't deny it. But those are the type of things that I think that are we can have commentary, we can have conversations. I think we're moving away from the instructional type of stuff, not the healing instructional type of stuff. But I think the big thing is, I was actually talking to Morgan about this morning, because when Soulogy was as it's presented itself and spoken to us, part of it is the nonverbal. It's the expressions, the light language, the sound healing, illumination. All that stuff is so important, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing. If for me to be in the presence of you and Shakina 3 or 4 times when y'all performed was just. There's not even any words for it. And I think we're going to see more and more of that from obviously from y'all, but from other people. I'm glad to hear too that you're singing with her.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I sing. I do. Yeah, I do. My sound healings, you were asking, do I do anything online? And so my sound healings are, I've had people reach out to me. Can you help me? How do you do this? How can you help me long distance? And so I'm a Reiki master, and we're taught how to do energy healing long distance. But what I've actually been doing is having people plug in the earbuds, and I do live sessions for them.
Wow.
And they are, so it's my drums, the rattle, it's chanting, it's prayers, and it is extremely powerful. So I've been doing a lot. I can only imagine what people are hearing outside my office. Wow. But it's lit up in here. So I do that.
I want to make sure that we cover these things. If you're open to it, are you open to people? And are you open to people to watch the live and the replay to contacting you for
for healing, so, for assistance, I
want to make sure that we cover that. We will. My computer's set on New York time and it's 5:55. Go figure.
Good one.
But I want to say, I wanted to ask you a couple of things.
Sure.
You seem very organic. Number one. Number two. I can also see, even when I met you before, not that I knew that the word even existed, but those elemental air fairies or off-planet, whatever those are. What are they called? Glyphs?
Silts.
Silts. Okay. So, do you communicate by way of any particular faces of the universe, of divine essences, elementals, galactic? Do you? Is that?
Oh my gosh. So to me, there are people who channel Kuan Yin or different, archangels and such. I like to go straight up to God. God, the great outdoors is my God. And that is, I am very much, and again, I'll come back on now that I've gotten through doing this for the first time. And I'll be, I've had, so this ancient lineage healing has been powerful. The visions are of Imhotep. I have people, gods, goddesses, all different things coming to me, but I am only in communication with God. And Mother Earth are, the trees, the water, the clouds, sure, but it's God and Mother Earth. And but it isn't that I don't, and I do.
No, I get it. I figured that. I had a feeling about that. I did. And now this thing about the ancient lineage healing, my impression, of course, when I went to Sedona, I was there 6 weeks thinking I was going to be there for a while. And I went through, and I think I told you, I've talked about it, but I mean, I saw Anubis the first night, and I saw Anubis the last night. He actually damn near kissed me on my face, the dog man from Sirius. But there was a lot of stuff in between. In fact, the first 3 days I was there, the third day I went to the stupa that you were talking about. And,
it's right over there.
And I met an interdimensional shaman, and that's in the physical, and that's no BS.
I understand.
So it's a really powerful place. It's like a super highway spaghetti bowl vortex, but it seems to me that what I'm getting from it, and it's just me, but and then knowing Sedona, having walked the land there, both present and from memory, that you guys, you and others, I'm sure, are holding space over there. You're part of some type of ground crew that's embedded in the land there, and I got to believe that what occurred at that Cosmic Awakening conference with the David Wilcoxes and all that 7 minutes must have had a huge impact, unconsciously or not, on everybody there, and even the energy center that Sedona is itself. So I mean,
it goes into the crystal bed. We're on a bed of crystals, so everything that's happening, it's transmitting both ways. We're giving back to it. We're living on this, and we're sending it back. So what happened went out throughout the multiverse. It went down into the earth, up into the air. So.
Yeah, I experienced that when I was there. I went to, God, I don't know all these places, right? And I thought I was going there to expand. Well, I did, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to expand the broadcasting. But of course, I was computing that on a literal physical level. I ended up going to the airport, up there with the airport, and had this thing happen to me, and I had to do like this grid work and all this stuff. And I found this little, I did this ceremony thing. I don't even know how it happened. I filmed it. But I found this little metal thing, and there was a kind of an insectoid, divine feminine crew that came in and had come and visited me and did some healing on me. And they like dropped it. I mean, I was going down the mountain, and they said, "Oh, go step over this fence where it says no trespassing,
and get it.
Go to this tree." And I go to the tree. I'm like, "What the hell am I looking for?" And there's this little thing, right? And so I took it back to the hotel, and I did a couple of radio shows, and they said, "Put it on the computer, and we're going to increase the transmission of your broadcast." And so over this, and I had nothing. I was living on nothing. I didn't have any money, and I didn't know what, it was same old boat, and when I did that for a few days, that's what I got. I got this. The whole crystals were with me. They were propelling the transmission exponentially. I
love it.
And so it's a real deal. Sedona is a very, very special place. I would absolutely love to have you back on, and I would love to also even have you do what you do, to show people what you do, which you can also do, like you said, online, and then not having to be there. So If you want to
Yeah.
kind of like, and I'm particularly talking about the singing bowls and the rattles and the, you know, but
Sure.
I love the way that you approach it because it seems like very spontaneous, intuitive, you know, like every one of them's different. Everyone that you come across is different. But can you kind of give us just a rundown on what you could or what you can do and facilitate online?
Oh, so if somebody puts earbuds in and hooks up to the experience, yeah. So I always begin with prayer, and I'll usually go with my rattle first because I'm clearing out the energy field. I talk to them about breathing. I give them breath awareness. We do not breathe correctly in this culture. We're very shallow breathers, so we need to open up and expand that inner chamber, and we don't. So I walk people through that. I was reading somewhere that it said 1,000 deep breaths can cure anything a day. If you took in 1,000 deep breaths a day. And so my mind, the science head that I am, I thought, 10 hours in a day. Well, that's still a lot of breathing, you know, but if you're sick, what else are you going to do but lay there and start to breathe? Yeah. The breath is the medicine. The breath is the medicine. It's our power. And so this is part of this ancient lineage healing as well, where I've been using the power of my breath, the prana, to direct it into my body, going throughout my body and doing healing my lineage, my children's lineages. But so I'll go through that. I'll walk them through visualizations, breath work, at the same time where I'm, chanting, and then I'll take out my native drum that I made, and then I go through and I'll connect them into the heartbeat of Mother Earth, songs that I've learned, that I've been taught in sweat lodges. And then it's usually something where I'll go into the chakras with the bowls, and there's sacred seed mantras for the opening of the chakras. So I'll open up the chakras and then use the seed mantras as well. And it's a lot of fun to do. Sometimes I do it at my office. I'll take people out on the land and do it. I pack a backpack, and people call it my Mary Poppins bag because all these things start popping out of my bag. I've got my drum, I've got my rattle, I've got a bowl, I've got, smudge, I've got everything in this. I've got tarot cards with me. Yeah. So I'll do that on the land as well. But it'll be, clearing of all their energy fields, everything that I can do. And it's incredible because you'll rattle over an area and it's dull. Thud, thud, and that's an area that you've got to clean out. The rattle doesn't lie. The feathers, the drums, these instruments are so sensitive. When I have the bowls on top of people, and I'll use the bowl around them, and you'll hear ring, ring, or you'll hear ding, ding, thud, thud. So I tell the person, open up that lower right-hand quadrant of your heart chakra. Boom, you hear them just sing. Wow. Yeah,
and you can do this online too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's happened. It's come around because I've had people calling me from out of state, and I thought, well, it'd be great if you could get here, but no, you're very sick and you can't. So they just put the buds in and lay down and receive. And
then you also do the astrology,
yeah,
which is your own twist on it too.
It is. Astrology is a beautiful science. It's back before we had computers. We were hand doing all the calculations, the mathematics. It took me days, because I was figuring all that out. I was young. And it's astronomy, but it's your interpretation. Everybody has their own view. Mine is looking at it in vibration. So it's looking at the sacred geometry and taking your vibration from that low unconscious vibration and raising it up into an awareness, consciousness. Wow. Yeah, wow. So it's been fun.
I don't know. I mean, I've obviously talked to a lot of people and what I do and traveled around a little bit. I'm not saying I'm anything. And yes, Kymberley is a dear, dear beloved sister of mine. I won't deny that. But I got to tell you, I don't know if you're going to find something so comprehensive. I know, we're in the year of collaboration, co-creation, equal energy exchange, expansion, sovereignty.
Bless.
And so I would just appeal to everybody. The comments are wonderful. Kimberly can see them afterwards.
Oh, bless.
I would appeal to anyone on the live now or on the replay that I can vouch for Kimberly. Energy is energy. So if it resonates with you, reach out. Tom Bear has been putting up all the links.
Thank you.
And reach out to her. I know it would be well worth the energy exchange to go through this unique custom healing with Kimberly. And I really like it too, because I'm a big believer in the messages I receive from the universe as I am in my role in Soulogy with others to continue adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. The more frequencies that are brought in an harmonious way, in a blend, is a really kind of a representation of what we're all doing here to me, which is we came in with the Akashic, like Kimberly was talking about. You know, she started with astrology and then she started to add her own remix. And I think that's really what we're all doing. So I'd love to do I'd love to do something. You know what I think would be really cool is you know, I could be the guinea pig, or we could even get someone else on camera and just kind of take them through, you know, kind of take us through a general idea of what you do. I think that would be, because it's very unique. And I think, you know, we're all here to support each other and be exposed to codes that we don't have that others can open for us, and vice versa. So
that's another story. That'll be a fun one too.
Well, I'm glad you're over the hump. It was an honor to be part of your coming out party. I love you very much.
I love you both. Aww, thank you.
I wish only the best for you and your children. And I really hope that Morgan and I get over to Sedona, because I'd love for her to meet.
I may be there before you get here, so I'll let you know. I'm aiming for Hawaii soon, so it's been calling me.
Well, come to Kauai. There's a direct flight from Phoenix.
That's where that's the island I'm going back to. So I will see you. I'll see you guys.
All right.
Oh, blessings.
Thank you, everybody. Take a swing by Kimberly's links, and how would people what's the preferred way for them to reach out to you if they want to get a session?
Oh, you could. I have a website, I think, there on my cell phone, and the Facebook Messenger is pretty easy. So I try to make it easy.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. You take care.
Oh, blessings. I love you both. Blessings. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.